Well, like I say, the first time I saw her, uh, I took a lot of heat from grown-ups back at that time who told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, even though I was just 11. But like when I saw her the first time, I knew that that's the girl that I wanted to marry. There were a lot of young ladies there at the church at the time, but a lot of them was friendly and, kind of outgoing like I was. But I guess because she was reserved and quiet and gorgeous, she was reserved and quiet and pretty like all get out. I said that. I said that's the one sitting over there. That's the one I want to get to know. And so I mean she was beautiful, man. I mean she gave me one of her school pictures that she took when she was 14, and I still have that exact same picture to this day. We've been married for over 50 years now. Right. It was 50 years in April, but we met 60 years ago. It was called Emmanuel Temple Holiness Church. Her family was already a member there when my family became a member there in 1965, and that's where we met. Well, we stayed pretty close for about the first 3 years or so, and then when I was 17, I went to New York and stayed off and on with 3 of my brothers for maybe about 2 years or so, off and on, but we stayed in contact. Right, we stayed in contact.
Yeah, he didn't let me get far.
Right. I want to say I was 18. Yeah, I was 18 when I came back. Right.
Yeah.
Her aunt had a problem with her car, and my dad went over to their house to work on her aunt's car, and I came with him. And I asked if she was home when I got there. I had just recently been back from New York, and she came out on the porch and we talked, and we both knew right then that it was back on.
Right. Of course, I was looking at the one anyway and so on.
Right. And from there, we stayed in real close contact until we got engaged. It was a 72 Suzuki GT 750. And I bought it in, 76. It was green, green with white trim. Well, we had been married for 2 years.
Right.
And we had our first child.
Right.
My rationale for obtaining a motorcycle was to save fuel. Because fuel had started rising, the fuel price had started rising. So I bought my first motorcycle to save fuel. I found myself riding more often. And then in 77, 78, she started riding with me after I got a bigger motorcycle. I bought a 750 Honda. And that's the first one that we took out of town together. Because I think I went to Tuscaloosa once on the 250. But when we got the 750 Honda, we actually rode to Atlanta together and visit some friends over there for the weekend.
That's when we went to see Eddie and Eva.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a whole lot of fun. So, we took pictures of us.
Yeah.
We got pictures on out, when we went to Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun,
And funny thing, one of my pictures showing I had strapped my boom box to the gas tank for my music.
That was a long time
and I still got a picture with my boom box strapped to the gas tank. That's how we was getting our music then. You couldn't hear while he was riding down the highway anyway. Once you come to a stop, you could turn it on and you could hear it pretty good. Mm-hmm.
I mean, but when he bought it, I was excited for it, for us, because we've always been outdoor people. So, like, our kids always played outside, so it was just another venue that we could use to, further our adventures, because we just like to do things together. It didn't take me long, to start riding with him, because I was adventurous. And that's what makes us like a kindred spirit, because I like to ride too. So from him, I learned to like that kind of lifestyle, you know. So, and we built our travels up on a motorcycle and other stuff.
I guess the biggest favorite. Oh man, we got so many favorites.
I know, right?
But I always wanted to ride across country, and so in 2007 we bought our first new Gold Wing, and then I subscribed to the Gold Wing magazine, and I saw in the Wing Riders that they were planning a cross country trip. The Gold Wing Road Riders were planning a cross country trip, and I told my wife, I said, we need to get with them.
Right.
And we got with them, and we rode to California with Gold Wing Road Rider. So I guess that's probably the most memorable, because that was my first time going cross country.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I had been to New York, but with some other friends, that was a memorable trip too. But going cross country was something I always wanted to do on a motorcycle. I had been in a car, but I wanted to go on a motorcycle. So that was a very memorable trip.
Yeah, and, that was fun.
Yeah, we rode all the way to Phoenix. Well, we stopped every night and stayed at a different place every night. And the Gold Wing Road Riders set up a banquet for us everywhere we went. But the real icing on the cake was while we were in San Diego, we took a tour down into Tijuana, Mexico. And the Mexican government had a huge banquet set up for us at the hotel to welcome us to Mexico. And we were on live TV and everything.
Sure was. That was nice.
So we rode all the way down into Tijuana, Mexico. And so I guess that's probably
one of the best.
One of the best.
One of the most memorable ones.
Yeah. And to the one we took to New York, to Niagara Falls, that was memorable
that was good too. With
five couples went.
Yeah, that was good. Oh yeah, I mean, one thing that I like about it is it's like being outside, you know, exploring everything from a different view, because you get to see stuff on a motorcycle that you can't see. I mean, everything just looks different when you're on a motorcycle. You know, the houses look different, the land look different, because it's like being outside walking, but you're riding, you know, and everything. And I'm like, you know, it's just a lot of things that you don't normally pay attention to when you're in a car, than when you're on a motorcycle. It seems like it's more up close and personal. And then the camaraderie that we have when we're on the motorcycle, we can communicate with each other, we talk to each other, we laugh, we listen to music, we get to stop, you know, and just enjoy the ride. You know, like, it's not always about the destination, it's also about the ride. So we just enjoy being with each other. So being on a motorcycle together is just icing on the cake for us. Ain't that right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, in order to do anything, it's like preparing for life. You know, when you get ready to even go anywhere. Like, you know, he's always helped me with putting my things together that he thinks that I need. You know, whether it's cold, raining, or whatever. So we have to work together to try to make it a good trip for both of us. You know, because he rides more than I do with his group of friends and stuff. So. But I don't ride quite as much as he does. But when I do, then he always goes out his way to make sure that I'm comfortable, you know. And so we have to communicate that to each other, you know. Like, he asked me, "Are you okay back there? You know, do you need some more air, or you need some heat, or do I need to turn on your heated seat, or can you hear the music?" You know. And so we communicate all the time when we're on the motorcycle. You know, do you want to go somewhere and get something to eat? Do we need to stop here? You know, just those kind of things. You know, it kind of brings up it just makes the union more perfect.
Say, we've always believed in teamwork because, you know, all our lives we have tackled everything as a team. You know, we both cook, we both do laundry, we both mow the lawn, we both wash the cars. Almost everything we do it together. So, but when we're out on the motorcycle, I guess it's, you know, we're kind of one on the bike, you know, whatever the weather is, whatever we're going to stop and eat, you know, we're doing it together.
One of the things I would say is, you know, communicate with each other, whatever it is, you know, always be willing to talk about it, to talk it out. Go to each other before you try to go to somebody else about your problems. Keep God in your marriage, because in these times you're going to need God in your life. Stay true to each other, and just love each other and care for each other. And there's nothing that you cannot overcome if you love each other. And that's just the biggest thing that I've learned. No matter what it is, true love always conquers all. It does.